Hello everyone and welcome back to Steel Division 2. Today we're going to make an answer video to Atkpwr Gaming, who recently on March 7th, today, made a video on how to play first DFL, and it is actually the deck video. And I was watching it, as I always watch his videos, and I would encourage you to do so as well. It's interesting. But yeah, I was watching it and he completely butchered my favorite division in the game, first DFL. And he made a deck that is so horribly wrong that I just couldn't let this go. And I'm not trying to take a stab at my colleague here. You know, we're good acquaintances, so, I mean, in the online, I would say friend, but this is online. I've never seen his face, so I don't call people I meet on the internet friends, but it is a good acquaintance. And, well, I'm gonna make a direct answer to that video, and I'm gonna leave the link to his video down in the comment section as well, so that you can take a look at that. And let's just go look at his deck real quick. So I'm gonna exit the game and I'm gonna go on display capture. There you go. So this is his deck. It's a Maverick deck, so we'll build our deck with Maverick as well. And you can see how he's using FFI Maquisard, basically, in French, for 25 points. For 9 availability. He's using, you know, Légionnaire Sapeur, Légionnaire Bim Tranapi, no problem with that on my end. My biggest problem here is the FFE Maquisard. And while they are good infantry in my book, they are actually good. Much better use when you can in certain division in B or C phase for that sweet spam. But, you know, they are good infantry, but DFL has so much better infantry than that. In B phase, he used Tirailleur AEF, which I don't know why he would do that, because, I mean, DFL has such elite infantry. And he doesn't use, first of all, he's not using any C infantry. Now, I know this is a Maverick deck. In my opinion, you always need C infantry, because if the game drags on for a while, you're still winning, but you need to hold on to your flags, then you'll need infantry. So, you know, maybe put FFE Maquisard or Tirailleur in C, or, you know, anyway, we'll see. Then he's using M10 tank destroyers in A, 2 cards of them. And he's also using 1 card in B with the 57mm anti-tank. He's using Hellcats. You know, anyway, take a good look at his deck, and we're going to go make one ourselves. And I think the one I'm going to make, I think will help you better. Like I said, I played them extensively. They're one of the best broken allied deck, and I had no shame playing them. I really had no shame. So let's go back into the game here. Boom. Okay. So if we're going to play Maverick, wait. All right. If we're going to make this, well, first DFL, we're gonna need a lot of jeeps. So you take all the jeeps you can. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Okay. You would want, I would guess. Oh shit! They changed something. Before, you could take these Commando d'Afrique with the half tracks, I think. But anyway, okay, you would want these Commando d'Afrique because, Christ, look at them. Recon availability, radio. They got 4 Thompson, 5 M1 Garand. You know, one machine gun, but whatever. They can shoot on the march. And 1 bazooka. So why wouldn't you want these guys? They're 10 men strong radio recon tank buster units. They got exceptional stealth as well. So you want these guys. I would agree that you could use these. You could use the M3, A3. it's a hard choice. I mean, here you got the M8 abstract for M8 Greyhound for 40 points, which is pretty expensive. I would go with just, you know, 4 of these. If you want to really spam, I guess you could take these guys as well. They are expensive. They are fast though. So, I mean, this is Maverick after all. So we do want to spam. Yeah, sorry, because usually I play my decks in balance. Then in the tank section, yeah, you could take these guys. You know, maybe I would go double vet. 4 here and 4 here. You got 8 total. That's more than enough. You would probably want these M10 in A phase double vet, and then you get these Shermans in B phase. Get them unvetted because you need the numbers here. They're not quite expensive, so you know you can still buy them in C phase if your game drags on. And yeah, you could take them double vet as well if you're really confident on your skills and on winning the game in B phase. But I would personally go with these guys. They're infantry support tanks, so I don't think you need them really vetted up. You don't want to go face to face with enemy tanks with these dudes. They do have 100 mil armor instead of the 90 mil, so you know they will last longer, but still. In the support tab, I would take these dudes. You could even take them with half tracks, but they're starting to get expensive at that point. Get these dude. That was a good idea, but also what you want is M8 infantry support tanks, because you know you're gonna get these guys, the M8 and the M3 with the M5 going along, and they're gonna take early flags and defend and push and really spam out your enemy. But you also want something to deal with anti-tank position. You want to take something to take care quick of MG position, bazooka infantry maybe. So you will definitely need these guys to go along with these dudes. So at least get 5 of them, I would say. Now these guys can be very good, but I would think for a Maverick playstyle, they're probably not needed that much. They can shoot 1500 meters, which isn't the greatest. There's better stuff out there. For the moment being, we'll leave it at that for the support tab. Support tabs is pretty expensive in DFL. Sorry, anti-tank. Well, you would want these guys with the with the FFE traction. They go at 115 kilometers an hour. So what that means is you can take out early enemy deployment pretty fast. You can pop these guys. You get 9 of them, and you can pop these guys pretty much everywhere on the map, being a huge nuisance to your enemy. I mean, these guys are very frustrating to play against if you unload them correctly, and they will destroy. Like they're very good. Take them. Now you do have access to AT guns. Early games, I would say sure, take them, but I think that's about it. And they're not that great actually. They do 115 mil damage, which is good enough for all medium tanks, but they're not the greatest. They die often. I think AT guns are perfect for balanced gameplay, but if you're going with Maverick, you want the stuff you buy to survive. So yeah, anyway, now you got 357 mil, you got FFI Partisan, and you know you got 3 anti-tank here at 65 points each. Now in your anti-tank tab, boom boom, you'll get what you want in B phase to kill enemy is gonna be tank destroyers. You don't want your M4 Shermans to go against enemy. So you got 3 M10 tank destroyers double vetted, because these guys have really bad accuracy and really bad rate of fire. But if you get them double vetted, Cat 56%, set with this 10 rounds per minute. So you know you really up their game there. And then you'll get 3 in phase A and you get 4 in phase B. And you know that's pretty much good enough. It's good enough, especially with DFL that has tons of bazooka infantry. This is really for your long range battles. This is to support your infantry. Alright, anti-air, they don't have a lot. And Bofors are really, really good. So I would take them even unvetted would be good enough. If you want them vetted, you know, that's fine. In his video, he vetted them up. And that's fine. I have no problem against that. You could even take them double vet if you want. Me, I prefer numbers over quality, especially for support units. I mean, for anti-tank, I would take veterancy, but for support unit, I like to go with numbers. You never know. The enemy could be like really grinding your ass for against your Bofors, and yeah. Alright, artillery. Now this is where DFL shines. You know, you get access to 155 mil in A phase. So, and you got 3 cards. So I would say go for 4 of these like this. Do you need mortars? Yeah, it would be a good idea to get mortars. You got 60 mil here who are pretty annoying, pretty good at winning infantry engagement. You got these guys with the radio, which can be equally good. You know, it's up to you really. I would personally take the 60 mil mortar. They have 40 rounds with them. They are excellent to support infantry. And if you're playing Maverick, I think this is when you want to go for, is to support your own infantry. You don't want like 81 mil mortars because these are made to, you know, kill support units over a period of time. They're made to shoot, you know, longer range, be safe with them and all that. But in Maverick, you really want to be aggressive. So what you want to do is take 60 mil, shoot at somewhere, bring your infantry, shoot somewhere else, bring your infantry, or, you know, you put them all on defense fire and they will defend for you and be really annoying. And this is what you want to do with mortars in Maverick play, in my opinion. Air tab for DFL is where they shine. I personally think DFL should be played in balance, by the way, because of all of their big support units. Oh, and let's keep talking about the artillery, actually. You're playing Maverick, so, you know, you don't need to push really hard in phase A. You can just take good position and hold them. And while you take good position, you build up your support units. Like, you bring these M10 tank destroyers, even if you don't need them. You bring these guys, even if you don't need them. And these guys, I would argue, you use them for counter battery only. That way, if you're playing a balanced player and he brings out one artillery, you know, he brings out an expensive artillery unit or whatever, you already got 2 of these guys that you brought along and on counter battery, and these guys are absolutely going to murder his. And then the balanced player will keep having to spend money in artillery, while in the mid game you will actually be destroying his stuff and pushing forward a lot. So there's a chance there that you know, trap your enemy into spending too much on artillery because your own will deal with his. Now there's a problem here, is that DFL artillery doesn't actually come with supply trucks, so that actually forces you to take a lot of supply trucks. And I wouldn't be shy on the supply trucks. I wouldn't. I would much prefer keeping the enemy on the edge and having an advantage in the artillery warfare, because what can kill you playing Maverick is in C phase, when the enemy has tons of artillery or HE lobbing device that you can't do shit against. Or let's say the enemy is spamming you with infantry and doesn't get artillery, then you can shift these guys on infantry support. And so I think in the long game, this is going to be helping you out. So once you're finished with your B phase, you don't have to surrender. Even if you're 13-11, you don't have to surrender, because you've got excellent support units here with tons of ammo. And with these, you're going to be defending your ground until, you know, late C phase. And so I think that's a mistake that a lot of players do in Maverick, is they build their deck just for A and B phase. And then coming C phase, they have to surrender because they don't have anything to hold the ground. And that's a shame. So this is it. That's why the artillery... I would argue you could, you know, take out a C phase... a B phase artillery. You could take them out. I mean, this is my personal choice here, because with DFL, I feel like you gotta spam these guys and really hold your ground there. Now, in the Air Force, you could take 4 Wildcat. They are pretty good. 4 12.7 mil. They are pretty cheap as well. You bring 4 of them on the game, and I mean, they are slow and all that, but they will destroy enemy aircraft. So you could take them for cheap stuff. You take the Seafire as well. These don't have a lot of ammo, but they are good planes, and they are recon. So these will probably destroy everything you encounter on the game, and for cheap price as well. You don't want to go too expensive with your fighters. And then, so Atkpwr did take, which one did he? He took these guys. No, he took these guys for phase A. It's 3 P-47 at 130 points each, with only a 500 pound bombs. I personally have a problem with that, because at 130 points, you pay them to be fighters, basically, because they have 8 12.7 Browning, which is, you know, double time better than these Wildcat, but they cost almost double as well. They do have bombs, so, you know, I mean, these are basically just fighters. They are fighter bombers. That's what they are. They're fighter bombers, and they do that role really well. But at 130 points, I don't think you want to risk these guys in a firefight, especially against Fokker Wolves or things like that. So you do get 3 availability, but you know, their bombs are not the greatest, and so I would go for the much better. There you go. That's almost the same thing here, but you get 2K pounder bombs for the same price. You do get one, but how many fighter bombers are you going to buy in? I mean, how many 130 point fighter bombers are you going to buy in phase A? Boom, 1 is enough. And then you could get this one as well. So you get 2, but these guys are also 2K with 1 5-pounder. So you could get 2 of these in phase A and be very, very good. And they're very, very powerful. They will kill anything, and they could help the firefight engagement with these guys. So I would recommend starting with 1 Recon, 1 Wildcat, and then maybe, you know, if you can, get one of these Hellcat or P-47. For phase B, you know, if you do successfully deploy all of these, your enemy will get anti-air, and he'll be hard-pressed to kill your planes. So what you want in this case for phase B is you want bombers, because now by the time phase B arrive, these guys are not going to be able to attack anymore. They'll get suppressed by AA. And the only thing, these guys will be good if they're still alive, and God, I hope for you they're still alive. I mean, you don't want to waste these guys. They're expensive. But if they're still alive, the only thing they're good for at this point in the game, in mid-game to late game, is to defend against enemy breakthrough, where the enemy AA net will not be that powerful, or maybe even inexistent. So in these guys, you use them extensively in A, and then in B phase, try not to use them, and try to use them, but smart. Do not, you know, go over enemy AA or things like that. Don't put them in dangerous position. They'll be really useful in C phase. Now, the trick with DFL on Maverick is to keep your planes alive. And, you know, if the enemy doesn't have a lot of artillery, you use these to pound the enemy AA to the ground. And by C phase, when the enemy doesn't have any more AA, or he has very little, you know, then you bring these guys back again in C phase, and you really pummel the enemy with all the airplanes you're going to get. So anyway, so in B phase, you're going to take 2 of these, and you're going to take, you know, you could even, yeah, and 4 of these, and I mean, it's the time to buy them is in C phase. We could argue we don't actually need the 2K. I mean, the 2K pounder is a really good one. You could get them in C phase, even though you're playing Maverick. You could definitely get the 140 points available. I mean, if you're just there defending and you don't really need to spend much point because your enemy in balance is taking his time or something, there's a very real possibility that you can bring these planes in C phase. But, you know, let's just take these guys. 8 500-pound bombs is very good. You get 4 of them. And, yeah. So this is pretty much all you need for your Maverick deck. You could get, you know, you could get maybe these guys in case these are all dead by the time. You know, just the trick here is to try to manage very well your Wildcat. They're good at killing once you get behind the enemy, so use them in collaboration with your Bofors. Bofors 40 mil are going to suppress the enemy, then you swoop in with your Wildcat, and as long as you got 4 Wildcat in the air, the enemy's going to be, you know, hesitant to bring his airplanes against yours. He's not going to be able to chase after your B-26 because you're going to be there with 4 Wildcat. Then comes the infantry game. We got 36 points left. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. So we'll be able to fill all of that. Now, Atkpwr did take line infantry. Personally, if I had to take line infantry in Maverick game, it would be in C phase because that's when you need numbers, cheap numbers. 25 is cheap. So yeah, let's do take line infantry, but we'll take the FFE Maquisard. First of all, they're good raiders, so they could, you know, push wherever they want and not get any suppression. But also they get 3 stand machine gun. They got, you know, the regular rifles. They got 1 machine gun. Plus they got Molotov cocktail, which makes them 3 stand Molotov cocktail. Makes them very useful in the forest. They got 27 of them. So this is a good, and 12 men strong, which is a good, you know, spam infantry. Where's the Tirailleur AEF? Whereas the AEF, they got 1 Thompson, or the AFN got 2 stand. It's 0.8 damage or 0.5 damage against, you know, 1.2 here. They got, you know, 10 rifle, which is 1 damage or 0.9, and then they got the automatic rifle, but they don't have Molotov cocktail. Take the Maquisard in C phase. And this is going to be your cheapest infantry. I mean, you know, you could always get 15 points in B phase and use them in C phase. You could get this as well for really cheap infantry. I mean, it's an option with Maverick. It's an option to take these at 15 points and just have them and use them only for C phase. But I prefer the the Maquisard. I think they're very good, and they're gonna be holding the line pretty good as well. Not in the open for sure, but you know, in the forest, on forest edge or things like that. But for your early infantry, you want some sweet infantry. We're gonna take these guys. Atkpwr did take them. They are pretty good. So let's not lie to ourselves here. We could take these guys with Sapar. Sapar do come with half tracks, so I mean, why wouldn't you take them with the half tracks? I mean, these are excellent breakthrough units. You know, they're just excellent. You launch towards the enemy with these. You unload them right on the enemy, and they can throw explosive. They can bazooka any tanks. They got 10 rifles, which is good, with 1 Thompson, which isn't the greatest, but it's 1.5 they do in close quarter combats with bazooka and TNT. So why wouldn't you take them with half tracks and just break through to the enemy line? In B phase, I mean, can you imagine like these guys running towards you? Now, next, you could use these BIMP Tranapi for line infantry. And we're starting to run low here. And I would take also, you already got Sapar, so you don't need Legionnaire. Legionnaire expensive as well. I would take Legionnaire in B and C. And you know what? There you go. In A phase. So you get Legionnaire in every rounds. Now, these are expensive unit for C phase. But, you know, like I said, if you do get the points, because playing Maverick, once you get to C phase, you need something powerful to hold the line. You could even, you know, forget these guys and put 24 Legionnaires in C face and just run with completely elite infantry in C face. Then in B face, you could get these shocks infantry for CQC. Now you would get these guys for line infantry, you know, and then these guys for shocks for DCQC 610, 3 carbine, 1 automatic rifle, 1 Willie Pete. You could also get, you know, another BIMP unit. They are pretty decent and they come in 9 availability rather than 10. But they do have bazooka, so but you know, you already got your sapar here, and so sorry about that cough. You know, personally, I would remove these dudes. There you go. So now that leaves you 2 more for something else. What else could we get? You already get Bim Tranape, but these are cost only 1 point. That would bring us to 3. Ideally, you'd want all 4 of these used. You know, what I would remove actually is this guy. Because I'm playing Maverick. And I got FFI partisans. So these guys can just hide somewhere and stop the enemy from pushing their tanks. You already got, you know, some of these for anti-tank. I mean, they're not good anti-tank. They're more infantry support, but these are gonna push hard. You know, and you got these guys with the bazooka. And these guys as well with bazooka. I just don't think 8 anti-tank cannon for DFL is that much needed, because on your flanks where you're not going to attack, I think you're gonna rely much more on ambushing rather than shooting at the long distance. Plus, you got these 60 mil that can do a lot of damage. These guys can absolutely destroy tanks as well. So, you know, you do have a lot to take care of tanks here. And then these guys will arrive eventually at 42 kilometers an hour. They'll eventually arrive. You know, so now we got enough for another infantry squad, which I think is important in Maverick. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Here you got CQC with these guys. 8 CQC unit. 11 line infantry. I use these guys for line infantry. With first DFL, you absolutely can use the elite and special infantry for line infantry. I mean, there's so much of them. You're not risking anything here. So there's multiple things you could do. First of all, you could use 9 pioneers for phase A at 20 points each. You could definitely use them for CQC as well, and you know, bring the battle, bring cheap unit in phase A. Let's do that for a second. Bring cheap unit in phase A for forests or things like that, while these guys are concentrated on your main focus of attack. And these guys would just be defending with, you know, maybe 1 BIMP, 3 pioneers, and you know, that's enough for that. You could also bring more elite infantry like this. So that would be 12 BIMP Tranape. And these guys can defend themselves. So 12 line infantry here, while your elite troops and CQC move for the attack somewhere. Plus, let's not forget, you do have 4 machine gun here. And you got these guys as well. So, I mean, I think this is good for Maverick. And here in B-Face, we do have a lot of infantry. We have, you know, 10 shocks for CQC, Legionnaire for line infantry and CQC as well. These can hold on hot spots in the battlefield. And then you got the Sapar, which will try to break through. Or, you know, if you feel confident in A-Face that you're not going to attack it that much and you really want to keep all of your attacks for B-Face, then bring these BIMPs for B-Face. Then you'll use your BIMP for line infantry. you'll use the Shocks and Legionnaire for CQC, and you'll use these guys for breakthrough. And then in C phase, you will get 24, excellent fanatical line infantry. These guys cannot surrender, and so in the forest they'll be really hard to kill. And so these guys, I mean, although they are expensive, especially when you only got 80 points, they are very expensive, but they'll hold the ground, they won't surrender, and these are excellent to hold flags while the enemy throws infantry at you, and you help them out with a constant supply of artillery, or of airplanes. And this is where you really need these guys alive for phase C. So try to not use them that much in B phase. Try to use these bombers instead, and try to use this to kill Bofors, and that will anti-air. You use these 60 mil to support your infantry throughout the whole game. Try to keep them alive. You do have a lot of supply unit, and so you need to keep your stuff alive, basically. And I think this is a much better Maverick deck for first DFL. Again, like I said, you could remove this and keep it for... then you get 2 points for, you don't really need these guys, but you could get cheap anti-tank for phase C. Because like I said, people build their deck, especially built for A and B phase, and that's fine. We did that, we did that. We do have a lot of stuff for A and B to push and take the victory. But once C arrives, you also need to defend your points, because if you've got 10 minutes before victory, but you still got 10 minutes you need to defend your points, and then you would get Legionnaire, you would get 57 mil anti-tank. At that point the enemy will kind of throw everything he's got forward, and then this is the best time, in my opinion, to hide these guys and ambush the enemy. So you could get these 57 mil instead of 2 more of these. Anyway, 2 of these will be just enough to destroy the enemy artillery. But, be careful with them. And once you shoot, scoot. Because you got these guys with you. Use them. Shoot. Reattach. Move somewhere else. You can't afford to lose them. Especially if you don't take a phase B card of them. But yeah, in phase C, you really want some cheap stuff. The only thing expensive in C phase is going to be Legionnaire, because that's going to be expensive infantry. In A phase, you use your M3, M5 plus M8, and you push hard. You use the recon also to ambush on your flanks. They have 4 Thompson, so you would want them to ambush. They can really defend themselves on their own. But, if you take these guys with, maybe 1 Legionnaire or 1 Sapar Pioneer, yeah, you gotta ambush on your flanks and push hard the area of attack you want. If there's a town, these are going to be good, because if they're with this M3, they can use the recon ability. And yeah, that is what I think a much better Maverick deck than what Atkpwr did. And then feel free with the Feel free with the last 2 points to put them wherever you want. You can put them in AT, you can put them in artillery. What if you want 1 leader to put these guys to 3-star in CQC? Well, there you go. There's your 2 points. What if you prefer having more planes? Well, there you go. You got more planes. You can use 1 in A phase even if you want to. Quite dangerous though. Quite dangerous. But yeah. There's your Maverick deck. In B phase, you got all of these Notice how we don't have any regular cheap infantry, because if you're going to go with infantry in first DFL, you might as well take the elite one. They're just like 5 points more, and in some cases they're the same price. Like Shock's infantry is the same price as the FFE Maquisard, and you know the Tirailleurs are 20 points, but for 10 points more you can get absolutely devastating infantry. You know, you could remove one of them as well and put them in sea phase for longevity. It's up to you. It's up to you. But I would take, because ideally by sea phase you're close to winning and you just want some stuff to hold back the enemy. And two double vet legionnaires are definitely going to do that for you. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Here's another look at Atkpwr's deck for DFL. I think he spends too much in the support tab. They're very expensive. Howitzers, they're really fragile as well. And with the artillery deck that I have with the artillery, you don't need these guys really. And that's a lot of yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, yeah, I would definitely go with that. He's got 67 units of infantry, and I have 80, which I think is a better number. You really want to defend in sea phase. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you for another video at another time. Goodbye.